I'm Brittany Lewis with Forbes Breaking News. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer touted the Inflation Reduction Act on the Senate floor Thursday. Senator Joe Manchin announced last week he had reached a deal with the Senate Majority Leader on the tax, energy, and health care bill. Schumer described the legislation as groundbreaking and, like other Democratic lawmakers, claimed that the bill will address drug prices, climate change, and inflation. Many Republicans, on the other hand, are skeptical the legislation will be anything other than a tax hike for working Americans.
Now, Mr. President, today the Senate will continue fulfilling its constitutional duty to confirm the President's highly qualified judicial nominees. This afternoon, we'll vote to confirm the 76th federal judge since the beginning of President Biden's term, Rupali Desai, nominated to serve as a circuit judge for the Ninth Circuit. Not long ago, a nominee like Ms. Desai would have been rarely seen in the Senate. But under President Biden, the Senate is confirming more and more nominees that break away from that norm. Over 75% of President Biden's nominees are women, and nearly half are women of color. Now, let's not forget the bench. People say, well, why shouldn't it be the same percentage as the population? Well, that's what we're trying to get to, but we're way behind, and putting more women and people of color on the bench gets those percentages a little closer to the American norm, but we have a ways to go. Moreover, Ms. Desai will make history as the first South Asian judge to serve on the Ninth Circuit and only the fifth AAPI woman ever to sit on the federal circuit court. Ms. Desai's resume leaves no doubt she merits confirmation. A graduate of Arizona School of Law, a clerk for Judge Mary Schroeder, the first woman to ever serve as a Ninth Circuit Chief Judge. She has excelled at every step of her legal career. She's one of Arizona's top election lawyers, having played a crucial role in protecting her state's elections in 2020, and has fought for everyone from children in foster care to children in public schools during the pandemic. As my Arizona colleagues, Senator Sinema and Senator Kelly, will attest to, Ms. Desai is deeply respected by all corners of Arizona's legal community and will make an excellent judge when we confirm her later today. Now, Mr. President, Senate Democrats are getting things done. This has been one of the most productive stretches the Senate's seen in recent times. In the past few months, we've seen an amazing string of achievements pass through this chamber in extremely fast succession. The first major gun safety bill in 30 years, the largest investment in American manufacturing and science in a generation, the largest expansion of veterans' benefits in decades, and just last night, we strengthened NATO by approving the accession of Sweden and Finland, sending Russia a signal that they cannot intimidate America or Europe. Gun safety, CHIPS, PAC, NATO, getting any one of these accomplishments done is a significant feat for the Senate. The fact is we've done them all since Memorial Day, and that's quite remarkable. And this doesn't even include a once-in-a-generation infrastructure bill, a historic rescue package to vaccinate the nation and lift America out of the pandemic, and the confirmation of Ketanji Brown Jackson as the first black woman to ever serve on the U.S. Supreme Court. I've always said that when the opportunity arises, Democrats would be ready to work with our Republican colleagues on important legislation, and many of the accomplishments I've listed are examples of just that. But when we must, Democrats have also made clear we're ready to go at it alone to deliver big things that the American people sent us here to work on, like fighting inflation and lowering health care and prescription drug costs, like holding drug companies accountable and making big business play by the rules, same rules as everyone else, like passing historic investments in clean energy to create millions of good-paying jobs and make energy more affordable for American families. Democrats are going to deliver on all these things and more when we pass the Inflation Reduction Act in coming days. Let me talk a little bit about the Inflation Reduction Act. Soon the Senate will vote on this groundbreaking legislation. I expect we'll have some late nights and extended debates here on the floor. But in the end, we're going to make good on our word to pass the Inflation Reduction Act. For many years, For years, many in Washington have promised to tackle some of the biggest challenges facing our nation, only to fall short. But with the Inflation Reduction Act, Senate Democrats will finally hold drug companies accountable and make prescription drugs cheaper. Senate Democrats will lower energy costs while passing the largest investment in clean energy ever. Our clean energy proposals will reduce air pollution, prevent thousands of needless deaths each year, and reduce asthma attacks by 100,000 per year. We've all seen kids, often in poor neighborhoods, struggling with asthma because they have so much pollution put in their areas by transportation and factories and whatever. Reducing that by 100,000 a year is amazing. Senate Democrats will also close tax loopholes and reduce the deficit, and will ensure that no small business or family under 400,000 years will see their taxes go up. Leader McConnell himself conceded yesterday that our proposal, quote, includes no new tax rate increases. That's true. That's McConnell's words. Includes no new tax rate increases. That's true. Let me repeat again. Leader McConnell concedes that now the Inflation Reduction Act includes no new tax rate increases. The American people overwhelmingly support these steps. A recent poll by the well-respected Navigator shows 65% of Americans approve our plan to reduce drug prices, keep premiums low, and invest in clean energy. A Morning Consult poll found that over 70% of Americans, over 70%, support letting Medicare negotiate prescription drug prices, which our plan will do. And another group, Data for Progress, found the Inflation Reduction Act has a net approval of 51 points. 51 points, wow. It's not hard to understand why Americans feel this way. Democrats' agenda prioritizes them. We prioritize the middle class and working families instead of those at the very top. God bless them, they're doing fine. But when Senate Democrats had the majority, they tried to rip health care away from millions of Americans and blew a $2 trillion hole in our deficit in order to soak the ultra-rich with massive tax cuts. Just this week, one Republican called for ending the days that Medicare and Social Security are guaranteed by turning them into discretionary spending. Do you know what that means when we make things discretionary? Do we want to tell our senior citizens your Social Security, which you paid into, is discretionary? Well, that's what the junior senator from Wisconsin, that's what Senator Johnson from Wisconsin wants to do. That is so wrong. But unfortunately, it represents a lot of the views of lots of Republicans who don't want to say it publicly because they know it's so unpopular. Back in February, listen to this one, the chair of the Republican Senate campaign arm, the junior senator from Florida, released a platform for raising taxes not on the wealthy, but on millions of low-income Americans. You can't make this stuff up. They want to make your Social Security discretionary, but then want to raise your taxes. What kind of bull is that? Just listen to this tsunami of disastrous proposals, taking away people's health care, tax cuts for the rich, putting Medicare and Social Security on the chopping block, raising taxes on working Americans. These are just some of the things that Senate Republicans have openly called for recently. Democrats' agenda is something entirely different. The Inflation Reduction Act will lower inflation, lower the cost of prescription drugs, close loopholes long exploited by big business who pay no or little taxes. That's what the Inflation Reduction Act is at its core. It's what the American people want, it's what the country so desperately needs, and it's what Democrats will deliver on in the coming days. I yield the floor.